Hello, and welcome to That's What I'm Trying to Tell You, the podcast where women from different generations sit down to share their unique perspectives on life, current events, and everything in between. So join us as we navigate through topics with laughter, a little wisdom, and a whole lot of authenticity. So a few months back, I went to a local Target and I was in the feminine care aisle and I look up past the sanitary napkins and something catches my eye, and not in a good way. And I'm standing there like, I can't believe I'm looking at this. So I take a picture and send it to my mom, who is driven with me to the store, but she's not in there with me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dildos. I did not know that Target was just out here selling free-range, grass-fed dildos for customers to buy. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I thought you had to go somewhere special to get stuff like that.
Yeah, and like they send it to you in a brown paper wrapper or something.
Yeah.
It's just sitting out there on the shelf, not even being called a massager.
Almost nothing. Or having there wasn't a lock on it. Just you can go pick them. And there were two teenage girls on that aisle before me, talking, I guess, getting whatever they needed. So.
And imagine all the other kids that come with their parents, and maybe the parents aren't ready to explain dildo. I don't ever recall my parents telling me about dildos. So.
No, that's just crazy.
It's insane.
And I did some more research, and apparently Walmart is doing the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
really?
Yes, I guess that's the new America's retailers are sex positive, and
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, okay, then that brings to mind, this is not as crass, but the unisex clothes. I think that some companies, I don't know if I should even say the name of the stores, but some of these well-known stores you can look at hoodies for men, hoodies for women, and unisex. Since we have all inclusive,
gender neutral.
It's called gender neutral. You can click on it. For instance, on Gap, is it Gap?
Or Old Navy, I think.
Old Navy.
It's mostly just T-shirts and hoodies.
Hoodies.
I mean, I would have thought that those were always gender neutral.
Yeah.
I guess sort of design, maybe more male or
maybe the color.
female.
Yeah.
But then again,
fit.
Right? If you really want to do away with gender stereotypes regarding clothing or colors, why not just remove male, female, and neutral? Why not just have sweatshirts?
Right.
And people can just get whatever they want.
They can choose.
Right?
Well, but then there are people who still, like myself, choose to dress. I want to look in the ladies section. I mean, you always were taught, if it's a woman's blouse, it buttons up on one side, or a men's, right?
Yeah. Which is weird.
To look.
It is.
Yeah, that's true.
It is, yeah. Yeah, they gender everything, the fit of, men don't have high-waisted this, low, mid-rise,
I mean, certain things.
But they don't have to because their bodies are different.
Right. I mean, but see, that's the thing, is that female bodies are different than male bodies. And much as you want to argue that gender is a social construct or whatever, there's a physical reality happening.
Absolutely.
And there's a reason why a lot of male T-shirts don't look good on women, because their bodies are cut differently. And actually, well, before my hips went, I used to like to snowboard. And, I'm short and I don't have, long, slim legs. And so I would rent snowboard boots, which you would think were gender neutral. And I would have to suffer through the whole day of my toes going numb. And I didn't even know any better until some store opened up which said they catered specifically to women skiers and snowboarders. And I went in there and the woman was explaining to me that women's calves are different than men's calves. It's generally, there's a shorter distance between your heel and the start of your calf. Whereas for men, it's higher up. So I was wearing these, supposedly gender neutral snowboard boots that were cutting off my circulation because it was cutting into my calf in the wrong place. So I was super happy to realize that there were actually something like female snowboard boots. But there's a physical reality to some
Okay,
clothing,
so let me
right?
throw something in. I know we're talking about the dildos on the shelving at Walmart and Target, but how do you feel about, and I'm gonna say this is just a wacko, but now dog clothes are coming to my head. I don't know why, but I think that's ridiculous too. But back to my point. What about these transgender people who want to play on sports teams with women?
That was a real right turn.
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying, you said, my point is that you said
Are you talking about like
there's
the
a
clothes they
difference
wear,
in
or-
there's a difference in men and women.
Oh, but there's a
So that
yeah.
they have
Physical
had
difference.
these sex changes and they want to play beach volleyball or basketball or whatever, or lift weights or whatever, and they're operating as women, but are they physically structured differently?
Well, I think that's where that whole argument about, like, did they undergo a hormone therapy and all of that kind of stuff before or after puberty? Because I think part of that argument was if they underwent this after puberty, they should not be allowed to because their bodies have developed, let's say, more as a male, and so they have a different musculature and all of that, which I would say I feel puts them at an unfair disadvantage.
Absolutely.
They shouldn't. I mean, I'd like to know are there very many trans men that are the women that became men that are trying to play on the men's teams?
That's what you don't hear about.
No,
Yeah.
maybe some of our audience can let us know.
Yeah.
Leave us some
You
comments and
hear
let us
about,
know.
like I saw a story on an Australian news service where parents were upset because a trans boy, I'm guessing who hasn't gone through puberty yet, but is taking the hormones and transitioning to female, is playing on the girls' sports team and is breaking all the girls' records. And the parents are like, well, biologically, this child has these male features, and of course they would break the girls' records in this particular sport.
Right.
Of course, it's totally politicized, but there is, I mean, everybody has the same set of chromosomes when they're born, whether you're male or female, it's there. You can't undo it. That's how you come here. Now, I get if you want to change your gender identity, that's not how you feel, what you were born into, fine.
There's a
physical reality that we live in and operate in. And I think that's what a lot of people aren't acknowledging now. And that's where you have issues that arise.
Right.
Without, I don't know.
Gonna get a lot of slack for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to interject. Yeah, I'm not
And I
trying
say
to
this
insult
with
anyone.
having,
I'm not.
gay friends and being totally open to whoever wants to express their gender however they want to. I'm not that person to say, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. That's what I'm saying.
No, not at all.
It's just there is a physical difference. I don't know how we got. Well, I know how we got here because
sorry,
you
made the
went the other way. But
Sorry.
I'm gonna go swing kind of back around in a sense because the dildo thing just makes me think about society maybe in the past used to be too restrictive as to what was proper to show in public or how you had to dress in public. In the 60s, there was this big revolution. And, by and large, women were probably the most affected by this, right? Because women were told that to be ladylike, they were supposed to dress and act a certain way. And then in the 60s, right, 70s, with all the bra burning and all, getting rid of girdles. My mother had a girdle.
Oh.
I remember watching her get dressed once. I was like, what is that?
Absolutely.
But, so those were some positive things. But
Long line bras.
yeah. But now I wonder sometimes when I see some people out on the street, I wonder, like, are we going too far in how people dress?
yes,
What is being shown and
Lizzo. Just gonna say that.
What's being shown and how people
Old Lizzo, I guess now.
Yeah, 'cause she looks fantastic. And she didn't have to lose all the weight to look fantastic. It was just the choices she made when she was her other. I'm gonna go with like the big Luther versus the little Luther. Remember the comedian talked about Luther Vandross. I like the big Luther voice. When Lizzo was bigger, she could have made some better choices. But now I'm just talking about the way people dress, period. There's a man in the city that we live in. I call him the best dressed man in the city. And this guy in the summer wears seersucker suits. He's about 65 years old. He wears beautiful Stetson hats and beautiful cordovan polished shoes with the waxed shoelaces and suits. And when it's raining, he has on a beautiful London fog overcoat. And I had the opportunity one day, I was in the market and I walked up to him and I said, "You don't know me, but I know who you are." And I watch you walk past. He takes the bus. And I said, "I have dubbed you, my daughter and I, we have dubbed you the best dressed man in this city." And he went on to talk about how he was raised. He was raised by a single mother. And I would think that he's gay from his inflection, but he took pride in it. And I'm not saying that you have to. We do live in California. But growing up, you ironed your clothes, you hung them up. These people, the things that they wear, what they call, when I see a man like you came to a wedding and you've got on a sweater and a shirt, not even a tie. Just, I call them the toddler pants. I cannot stand these pants with the drop crotch, and they have
on now with elastic
elastic around the bottom, and for God's sakes, don't put on a fucking pair of flip-flops with them and call yourself a man.
Yeah.
I cannot stand it. But,
Yeah.
that's me.
But
anyway, go on.
particularly like to Catherine's point, like I think this is probably what you were getting at, like the level of modesty, maybe,
Right.
in the way that people are dressing now, especially like the younger kids, because they tend to just follow what the older people say, and older
Pants to school
doesn't necessarily mean like 20 years older. Like Gen Z is influencing the modern teenager now with the tiny short shorts, and some of these kids that walk to school, and I'm not looking at teenage boys and girls,
Did you
in a
ever
creepy
see
way,
them leave
but
the house?
to have on booty shorts, literally, and a tiny tank top,
Ninth graders,
and
eighth
you're,
graders.
yeah, 14, 13, like,
Booty shorts. I shouldn't see your butt cheeks. Excuse
I
me,
don't know.
parents, don't let your kids walk home in their volleyball panty shorts
I
from
don't know if
practice.
guys remember, but there was a girl in the girls in our daughter high school class. And they went to a very progressive school, but they got some high school. But there was in the bylaws or whatever a general dress code, which by and large people didn't pay attention to because you didn't really need to.
right.
There was a girl who kind of pushed this to the limit where you have the tiny, tiny tank top that doesn't cover your belly button, and then tiny, tiny shorts where your butt cheeks are hanging out and it's below your belly button. I mean, like essentially no clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to enforce this dress code, and the mom was very upset. And, and it was all this stuff about her body and she should be able to dress her as she was. But the fact of the matter is, hormones are raging and you do have these boys in class. And
This is elementary school.
do you really want to have everybody distracted by that? I mean, it's not necessary for her to dress that way.
Yeah. At school.
Yeah, at school. And I went on a field trip with the class. There were sixth graders. And we went downtown. I guess we took the metro. So we were walking through the metro station. And it was kind of creepy how I'm walking with these sixth grade girls and this particular girl amongst, and the number of men in the metro station that were checking out this 12-year-old. Like,
That looked like an 18-year-old.
right. And is that really what you want to teach your daughter to put out there? Yes, it is her body, but therefore she has a choice as to how she's going to be seen, how people are going to react to her. Right. I mean, and you can rant all you want about, well, men shouldn't sexualize women. That I'm sorry, that's the nature.
Right.
That is
It's
way too,
and you
right.
shouldn't always have to
How babies are made.
be making it. You shouldn't always have to be making a statement either. Like,
No.
I have the right to be called they, them, whatever. You know what I mean? Or changing the
Or how about this? My thing now is that I realized confidence works both ways. You don't have to be the center of attention to be confident. It's a mindset too. You can wear a power suit or a nice dress that doesn't come up too short, or nice shorts that aren't too short, and look polished and put together and still exude an air, if you're a woman, an air of sexiness, an air of professionalism, an air
Confidence.
of, confidence, and still have your personal style be well received and communicated.
I mean, it always struck me as kind of unfair if a woman like dresses, let's say, very blatantly sexy. And everybody knows what that means. It's like if you're showing a ton of skin or you're showing, a lot of cleavage and all of this. And then she gets some kind of attention from somebody and then shouts at them that it's her body. She has a right to dress however she pleases, that this makes her, she thinks she looks good in this. How dare you comment about it, or how dare you have a certain reaction to her because she's dressed like that? And that just seems completely ridiculous to me.
It is.
It is. I agree.
I was at the airport yesterday and I get into the TSA pre-line and I'm looking at this woman in front of me. She's probably in her 20s. Yes, she was, fit, attractive girl. She was wearing basically a little onesie that was, made out of, like, what do you call it? Spandex material. But it was a little onesie with nothing else. She clearly had no underwear or anything on with this. It wasn't, what do you call it? It wasn't a jumpsuit that was long. No, I mean, it barely covered her butt. Jeez. And it had little tiny thin spaghetti straps. And I'm just looking here going,
Why'd you put any clothes on?
Like,
to go on a plane?
Since when is it okay to come to the airport naked?
Right.
I mean, she looked like she was naked. I don't understand.
And the germaphobe in me, I'm thinking, why would you want to wear some tiny little get-up where millions of people have sat before you?
Yeah, you're sitting.
My legs to be covered. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
No.
the strangest thing in the world. I mean, I'm just thinking I would feel so uncomfortable myself standing there like that.
Yeah.
You have no clothes.
And then I wonder,
Anywhere.
like, did somebody see her leave the house? Who told her that was okay?
It's like,
Who didn't say,
well, she was old enough to be on her own. She was solid in her 20s. But I just,
that's the thing. And it's making men uncomfortable too, I've heard. They're like, I'm tired of it.
right.
Seeing that.
And like, here's a man and there's somebody dressed like that, and he's probably thinking, I know where to look.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because if he does,
Because if he actually looks, he could get criticized. What is he supposed to be rude?
Or she could say, "You're making me feel uncomfortable."
Right. Is he supposed to, like, if he's having a conversation with her, does he have to look past her shoulder?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Or, we just saw this ad for this new bra that the Skims, that underwear thing, has come out with. That actually,
that's Kardashian's company, right?
yeah, that actually it has prosthetic nipples.
That
You can wear a bra and still be able to show your nipples. I mean, I grew up that if for some reason you weren't wearing a bra, you put Band-Aids.
Right.
You did something like that.
Exactly.
That wasn't something you were supposed to be showing
little
to the world.
camisole slit, between you, the blouse and that. Yeah.
What are you trying to say?
You want to be respected, but you don't look respectable.
Right. That's a sexual. I mean, if you see somebody's nipples, that's a part of somebody's boobs, which is a part of their sex organs, which is, makes you think about sex. Like, I don't see how that.
I mean, like on the male side too, I don't want to see super tight pants so I can see your junk.
Right.
Exactly. Right.
I don't want somebody's shirt up and down to their navel. I mean, it works both ways.
It's true.
And I don't really understand where just modesty went out the window. It just, what amazes me are the girls that go to Catholic school and they wear those skirts.
Hiked up.
And they roll them up so that skirt is barely covering their butt.
I went to all girls Catholic school, and that's not something new. Yeah.
I'm just amazed that school lets them do that.
Absolutely.
And it's all in this whole, several decades of feminism and female liberation that we've had. Okay, yes, I can wear what I want to. My body's my body, my choice. Yet you wear something skimpy and tiny, you are still attracting the male gaze. Not to say you should dress in a potato sack, but I don't really know. I don't know the best way to say this. Like, whatever you wear.
I would question, if you choose to dress that way, why are you dressing that way?
Right.
And if you
What's
say,
the intention?
well, I feel I look attractive that way, I would say, why do you think you look attractive that way?
Mhm.
And I'm willing to bet that it will go back to the fact that somehow you feel you're attractive to men that way.
Exactly.
However
trauma.
much,
That's
however much you want to argue that it's your body and know that's not why you're doing it.
There you go. Why?
I mean, I think what it is you really need to examine it because you're probably thinking that it's your choice to dress that way, when really the whole root of why you think that that's attractive is because that is a male point of view of what makes you attractive.
That's right.
Precisely.
Here come boundaries and restructuring how you think about yourself, about your body, about what you think other people think of you.
Mhm.
You
Your
really-
self-esteem.
Your self-esteem, exactly. You have to be secure in your whole image, your mind, body, spirit, in alignment with yourself.
Clearly, there are women who dress, well, let's say in a modest way, let's say not overtly sexy, as in low cut, skin tight, super short.
Mhm.
Okay. There are women that don't dress that way and are clearly very attractive.
Mhm.
Right. If we go back to kind of that whole thing about online dating in general, who do you attract? I would say if you choose to always wear things that are tight and short and low cut and showing a lot of skin, who do you think
Who's going to show up?
Right.
think you're attracting? And then you're going to be upset that the type of person you attract. And you'll, like maybe your argument as well, why can't I attract a nice guy like that? Probably because a nice guy's going to look at you.
He's not
say,
taking you home to his mother.
yeah, say, that's too much for me. Or like, I don't want to have to deal with somebody who thinks they have to put themselves out there like that.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And it's not even that they're thinking necessarily, it's not that they're thinking you're cheap or something or, loose. Or I don't know what the common, what the modern word for that is, but it's just like, if your personality is that personality that has to be out there like that and presumably wanting a lot of attention, maybe that's just not somebody that they want to deal with.
Mhm.
That might be some, like a lot of men, quality men, let's say, may not
Right.
want to deal with that.
Well, here comes.
I mean, first impression is everything, right? That's a given.
It's true.
For
And
any
agree
situation.
with what you were sharing with us off the mic was when Anwar talks about talking to men that are behind the velvet rope.
Oh, yeah.
Level up and talk to somebody different. What they see, that's what you're going to attract, that like-mindedness.
It's true.
Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in to another episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please follow, comment, and reach out on our socials. Also, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you resonated with anything in the episode, be it products or topics, make sure to check the show notes for additional information, or shoot us an email if you like. See you next time.